Okay. We are going to talk about Judge Brett Kavanaugh today. And, well, I want you to see, if you can, the HBO original movie Confirmation. Maybe you can get it on demand. But the movie Confirmation shows the true story of Clarence Thomas, and it shows him go through the entire confirmation hearing. Now, the confirmation hearing is you appear before half Democrats, half Republicans in a committee. They ask you questions. If they like you, they vote. If you get 50% or more yeses, you go to full Senate. At full Senate, the full Senate votes for you. 51 senators, you're on the Supreme Court. Now, Clarence Thomas went through that, and then after it was all said and done, they tracked down one of his former employees named Anita Hill. And they told her, well, a lot of high quality cases, a lot of high profile cases coming up. Next couple of decades, landmark decisions, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, she's sitting in the Senate Judiciary Committee. What they did was they restarted the committee just for her. And she's sitting in the Senate Judiciary Committee saying that not only did he sexually harass her while she worked with him at 2 jobs, but he forced her to watch animal pornography. She worked with him at Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Then she followed him to the Department of Education. She gave him rides to the airport one time. She maintained professional contact with him, like phone numbers and stuff. But all of a sudden, now 10 years later, he's sexually harassing her. Now, there was a statement here which I was actually disgusted by. It was made by Rachel Den Hollander, the principal witness against Larry Nassar. And I went off on her own page. And I was getting into a lot of nasty arguments. Why'd you wait so long? Here's a big part of why. Because for years I watched Family and Friends, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I'm watching it again. Conservatives, you are yelling from the rooftops that you don't care what the truth is and you aren't safe. You'll attack a victim anytime who will cause you to care. And that's shameful. You can and should do better. Conservatives, you want to be the party of family values, you want to be the pro-woman and pro-child, then start by taking claims of sexual assault seriously instead of using poor logic, straw men, and ad hominems to avoid the issue. Otherwise, you are part of the cultural problem. And you can go on her Facebook page and look. You can also see me down on her page. This posting had over 105 comments, and I was going back and forth. About 80% of the people that commented on this, not just women, men too, believe wholeheartedly in the accusations against Judge Kavanaugh. And one man even said to me that he saw my previous comments on our thread about sexual abuse, and he said, I thought you would, alright, pussy drink. He said, I thought you would, support her. And I said, well, I'm against sexual abuse, but I'm also against false accusations. And I'm also against lynch mobs. This is a lynch mob. Okay? According to the 6th Amendment, we are all innocent until proven guilty. Now, speaking about Larry Nassar's principal victim here, the Carollis. Larry Nassar abused girls at their ranch. Well, I was watching Fox News, Martha McCallum, and Mo Challen had appeared on there via satellite one time. And I'm watching, and Martha McCallum says, coming up, a decision on the Carollis. And I went to talk to Mo Challen's husband, Doc Canals. And then I remembered, I'm doing laundry, I'm on DVR, fast forwarded. And I literally was talking to Doc, I'm like, fuck! I honestly and reasonably believe the Carollis knew Larry Nassar was doing something wrong behind closed doors. But I couldn't prove it. No one could. Therefore, they don't get charged. If you can't prove it, it doesn't get charged. If you can't prove it, it doesn't get convicted. Yes, we believe this. Yes, we believe that. But according to our founding document, unless it can be proven in court, it didn't happen. Okay? And we've seen O.J. Simpson. We've seen Casey Anthony. We've seen many cases where we knew the person was guilty, but the jury didn't arrive at that conclusion. And according to our system, when the jury cannot arrive at that conclusion, you are innocent. Period. Yes, we don't like it, but you know what? And I talked about Larry Nassar here in one of the other postings. And I actually told Rachel Denhollander, you owe Judge Kavanaugh an apology for this comment. And I said, as a victim of sexual abuse, you should be outraged at a false claim being used as a weapon. Now, okay. Here's what happened. Judge Kavanaugh went through the committee. And as Chuck Grassley is introducing him, you hear all the Senate Democrats. Ah! I mean, he's saying, good morning, Judge Kavanaugh. Welcome to our committee. We should postpone the hearing. You literally hear for 90 solid minutes every Democrat on the committee screaming as he's introducing, good morning, welcome, Judge, welcome your wife, your wonderful daughters are here, I see your mother, like fucking animals. They also accused him of wanting to abolish civil rights and wanting to abolish the 15th Amendment. Now, 13th Amendment, abolish slavery. 14th Amendment, descendants of slaves are citizens. 15th Amendment, descendants of slaves can vote. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously. The Supreme Court's job is to look at laws and decide if those laws violate the Constitution. Example, black children can't go to school, can't go to public schools. Okay, well, if blacks are citizens and it's a public school, blacks should go to school with whites. Blacks should go to public schools. Okay? White people can't marry black people. Well, if black people are citizens and white people are citizens and they're entitled to the same protections under the law, it's not the government's business. They get married. The Supreme Court must apply the Constitution to laws and abolish certain laws. But they can't abolish the Constitution. The only constitutional amendment that was ever abolished in our history was the 18th Amendment, which banned alcohol. In order to abolish a constitutional amendment, you must have two-thirds of senators, two-thirds of congressmen, and the president agreeing. It only happened once in our history to abolish, to overturn prohibition, to reinstate alcohol. Now, if all 9 justices of the Supreme Court voted to abolish the 15th Amendment, or any amendment, 2 things would happen. First and foremost, Congress would refuse to do it. Second, the entire Supreme Court will be impeached. Okay? So, let's say some white person wanted to sue all black people saying blacks voting violates the Constitution. First and foremost, no lawyer would take that, period. Second, even if some lawyer did take it, it wouldn't get anywhere, period. Third, even if it by some miracle went to the Supreme Court cannot overturn the Constitution. The Supreme Court cannot say the 15th Amendment violates the Constitution. They can't say that. They physically cannot say the Supreme Court violates, the Constitution violates itself. Okay? So when you say you're afraid a Supreme Court justice will overturn a constitutional amendment, it is a physical impossibility. Then they lie and say he's not giving them any documents. And they just fucking yelled at him and lied at him, and it got so bad his mother started crying in the audience, and the animals in the back got so out of control they had to actually take his wife and daughters out because their safety was threatened. Okay? So after several hours a day for a entire week straight of screaming and yelling like animals. They gave him 1,000 written questions. And he probably had to answer 1,000 written questions in a weekend, I think he had to do it. So he must have had his secretaries typing in a form as he was walking around the room talking. But, sorry, allergies. And then after all that, Dianne Feinstein comes out, and Dianne Feinstein says, oh, by the way, I just had a letter here. I got this letter 6 weeks ago. It's very important. I didn't talk about it till now, but it's important. 36 years ago, you tried to rape somebody. Now, my favorite gymnast, Donnie Luciano, went to Dianne Feinstein this past January, a week after the Gorsuch hearing. And yes, I watched it live. And I was talking to her before and after it happened. I actually sent her a tweet before she went in, and I said, you're going to read this when you get out. Good luck. Love you. Okay? Dianne Feinstein, at Donnie Luciano's insistence, passed a law that said if you are a youth coach and you believe there's sexual abuse going on, if you don't report it within 24 hours, it's a felony. And if Dianne Feinstein was a youth coach instead of a fucking senator, she would be guilty of a felony under her own law, because she had a report of sexual abuse of a minor and she kept it secret for 6 weeks. Now what happened was a person, and we're not going to say this person's name, a person said 36 years ago when I was born, she was a victim of an attempted rape by 2 men. One of them was Judge Kavanaugh. Now, several years ago, she told a psychiatrist this story. And she told the psychiatrist, I was a victim of an attempted rape by 4 men. I don't remember their names. A few years later, I was a victim of attempted rape. I know it was just Kavanaugh. 2 men. Okay, so now it goes from 4 men to 2, and it goes from not knowing the names to knowing the names. Okay? She cannot tell you the day, the week, the month, the year, the location, the house. In fact, there's no evidence this house exists. There's no evidence the party happened. There's no evidence either one of them was at the party. There's no evidence they ever met. He didn't even know her fucking name until the allegation was made. Okay? And they're demanding the FBI investigated. They're demanding there be a trial. They're demanding be banned from the Supreme Court. Blah, 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 blah. Okay? And the number of people, mostly women, but some men too, that believe this wholeheartedly is sickening. It is terrifying. Because any of these fucking idiots, they're all 18 years old or older, and they're all registered to vote. What's more terrifying? These fuckers can be on a jury. Think about that for a minute. Imagine if you have someone on a jury, because these people, without any evidence at all, believe Judge Brett Kavanaugh is guilty of attempted rape. And even though you could tell it's a blatant lie, you could see the handwriting on the wall, it's a lie. They believe it. And they believe that he can be punished, whether he's banned from the Supreme Court, whether he's put in prison, whether he's disbarred. They believe he can be punished without any evidence, period. So these people believe that you can be found guilty of a crime without any evidence, period. And they can sit on a jury. Scared yet? And Rachel Denholm posted an article, and I responded. I said the author of this article needs a big red nose and floppy shoes, because the article said, I read a few things in the article. One of the things the article said was, it's okay, very few men are imprisoned for false rape allegations. Okay, well, very few men. If you're a man and you're in prison for raping someone and you're innocent, do you give a fuck that very few men are imprisoned? No, because you're in prison. Now, when you go to prison, they have to, according to the Constitution anyway, convict you. They have to prove that you're guilty. But once you're in prison and you want to get out, you have to prove yourself innocent. Because the court somehow arrived at the conclusion that you are guilty. Now, while you're sitting in prison, in order for you to get out, you have to prove yourself not guilty. And there are people that are in prison for years waiting to prove that. I met a man that spent 17 years in prison for a rape and murder he didn't commit. Okay? And he spent every minute of that 17 years trying to get out of prison. Offering DNA, offering anything he could. Okay? So it might not be a big fucking deal to you, but it's a big fucking deal if you're the guy sitting in prison for being unjustly accused of rape. Also, what about the psychological damage? And I said in some of these conversations that my cousin's friend was one of the Duke lacrosse players. And he is, I never met the guy, but he is so fucked up it's not even close to funny how fucked up he is psychologically. Okay? And I said in these conversations, I'm a victim of a false sexual harassment allegation. I'm a victim of identity theft. I'm a victim of cyber stalking. It's real. It's real. And a woman yesterday morning told me on Rachel Denhall on this page how the courage of this person and she's so courageous and she's going to inspire this to come out. I'm worried about that. First of all, I told this woman, I said, I want to puke now. You're saying this is courage. I want to fucking puke. I said she filed a false allegation against an innocent man to hurt him for political reasons. That's courage to you? I said, let me tell you what courage is, okay? Courage is when you see a car run a red light with an old lady in front of it, and you run in front of the car to get the old lady and pull her back out. That's courage. You want to know what courage is? Courage is when you got a guy on an SUV running a red light with a pregnant woman, and you stand in front of the pregnant woman to shield her. That's courage. I said, okay, you know what courage is? Courage is telling a mother that you would rather spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair than tell her you failed her child. And that mother believed me because based on what she had seen me do and based on what my reputation was, she knew my bluff was no idol. I had the woman get scared a couple times in the middle of the fucking road. And I told her I will never leave you. That's what courage is. Courage is doing what is right, and even in the presence of fear. Courage is not accepting money to file a false allegation against someone who hurt their family. How about his daughters? You know how fucked up that makes you in your head when you're a teenage girl and your father is accused of a horrible crime like this and you know he's innocent and the fucking lynch mob wants to get him? There were reports that the media was camped on the Kavanaugh lawn. Well, here, let me tell you this. You ever see The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner? Yeah. Okay, well, Kevin Costner said something in that movie. And I found out it's true in real life. When you have an assassination attempt, regardless of how incompetent the assassin is, someone always gets hurt. It could be the bodyguard. It could be a journalist. It could be a civilian. Someone always gets hurt. So what if some crazy motherfucker goes after the Kavanaugh family? What if it happens? We live in a world where people will fucking use baseball bats and Molotov cocktail bombs because they disagree with a college speaker. Okay? What's gonna happen when some crazy motherfucker takes a shot at the Kavanaugh family? What's gonna happen then? The U.S. Marshals will try to, because he's a federal judge and he's a candidate for the Supreme Court, so the U.S. Marshals are protecting him. But what if the Marshals fail? Or what if a Marshal gets killed trying to protect his family? This is real, my friends, okay? People can do crazy shit. Someone could try to hurt the Kavanaugh family. Make no mistake about that. You could get some crazy motherfucker to take a shot at one of his family members. Okay? And the bullet will hit a journalist. Or the bullet will hit a little kid. Okay? You could get some fucker in a car, drive him up on his lawn, and mow people down on his lawn. Okay? It's a crazy world we live in, but it's the truth. Okay? This man was never accused of anything his entire life until a week before he was voted on. He was supposed to be voted in committee Thursday, and they were supposed to go to the full Senate tomorrow. Instead, they're gonna go back to the committee to hear this fucking crazy lunatic commit perjury. That's what just committed, okay? Dianne Feinstein should be in prison. I know for a fact this is a lie. And Dianne Feinstein, I don't know if Dianne Feinstein gave her money. I assume she did. I don't know if Dianne Feinstein is giving her more money to delay and delay and delay and delay and delay. The longer you delay, the more money you get. But Dianne Feinstein needs to be in prison because she gets a report of a sexual abuse allegation, which is blatantly a lie, and she hides it for 6 weeks, and she weaponizes it at the last minute. Okay? Dianne Feinstein and this crazy woman hurt Judge Kavanaugh. They hurt Judge Kavanaugh's wife. They hurt Judge Kavanaugh's children. They hurt Judge Kavanaugh's parents for blatantly politically fanatical reasons. You know what should have happened? And I heard people saying Rachel Denton on this page, Anita Hill was mistreated. Anita Hill was ridiculed. Let me tell you something about Anita Hill. Anita Hill committed perjury before the United States Senate. Okay? She didn't lose her job. She didn't lose her law license. She didn't get indicted. She didn't get convicted. She didn't go to prison. And when she got back to her office, watch the movie Ace World Confirmation. When Anita Hill got back to her office, after lying about Justice Clarence Thomas, she was given thousands of fan letters. Anita Hill is a fucking hero of the far left. Okay? If Anita Hill was indicted and went to prison where she belonged, this fucking woman would never came out of under her rock. Okay? When you allow these false allegations to be made public, and when you allow these fucking people to commit perjury, okay, they encourage more of this shit. Okay? Because this is the world we live in. Okay? Politicians like Dianne Feinstein know they will not be punished no matter what they do. Okay? And people like Anita Hill and like this woman know that they can lie, they can slander, they can commit fucking perjury and get away with it and be heroes of the fucking far left. Okay? They are glorified as heroes for committing perjury. Okay? If you went to the Senate and you lied, you'd be in prison so fucking fast to make your head spin. And I'm gonna tell you something now. You know what's furious about this? My mother. My mother on her Facebook page made a posting, which is very, very rare, I might add. My mother, from the age of 3 to 15, was abused by my grandfather's best friend. My grandfather died in a car accident when my mother was 15. He went to his grave never knowing that his best friend had betrayed him. And while that was going on, he was godfather to my aunt. Okay? And my mother is fucking furious at this fucking pig. Okay? You know why my mother's furious? Because my mother, like a real abuse victim, understands me. It is morally, legally, ethically wrong to accuse someone of a crime you know they didn't commit. But it is downright fucking disgusting for you to make a false sexual abuse allegation and weaponize it for political reasons. Okay? No one gives a fuck about these little girls and their mother. Okay? Do you have any fucking comprehension what it must be like for them? Your father is the first man that kisses you. He's the first man that tells you he loves you. He's usually the man that's there the minute you're born, and he stays there until the minute he drops dead. And imagine while you have to go through mentally, physically, psychologically, when you see your father the victim of a fucking blatantly false allegation, and then you see a fucking lynch mob out for your father. Let me explain this to you right now. The Supreme Court exists to make sure that all rights are protected, period. The Supreme Court is the reason why blacks and whites can go to school together. The Supreme Court is the reason why the government can't drag you out of bed because you married someone with the wrong skin color. The Supreme Court has guaranteed and reaffirmed all the rights the founders wanted to give to you. And a candidate for the Supreme Court is himself the victim of a false allegation and a lynch mob. This is a lynch mob. Okay? So he is a victim of the very thing that it's his job to prevent. It's his job as a federal judge and soon as a Supreme Court justice, it's his job to protect you from being abused. That's his job. And now he is being abused. So he right now is demonstrating the need for the Supreme Court, because without the Supreme Court, that's what happens. False allegations, guilty. There's no guilty until proven innocent. It's guilty, period. The minute the bitch opens her mouth, you're guilty. It doesn't matter how many years ago it was. It doesn't matter how obvious it was she's lying. It doesn't matter how politically motivated it was. Okay? Okay? You could have some fucking woman that never even looked at you before. And she'll come out of fucking nowhere and say, well, he raped me. Where's the evidence? He raped me. Where's the evidence? He raped me. Where's the evidence? He raped me. Okay? That's what goes on. This is fucking very dangerous, my friends. This is very dangerous. Okay? This is a fucking lynch mob. It's a disgrace. It happened to Clarence Thomas because he was a black conservative. It happened to Herman Cain because he was a black conservative. It happened to the president because he was against the Queen. And now it's happening again. Wake the fuck up, idiots.